Welcome to A Double
and
Dice
with your host Kim.
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage
Pull up a comfy chair.
because we are ready to roll.
Welcome to episode 92 of A Double and Dice. And Jocelyn is back from a vacation.
Ciao!
In case you didn't know, she went to Italy.
I did go to Italy. Viva Italia.
Viva Italia. How was it?
It was fantastic. It was amazing. I can't believe I did it. It feels like I did do it. Like it feels like a dream, except I'm actually tan, Kim.
Wow.
With my SPF 60, I was able to not get burned, and I actually have a slight bit of color and a bunch of freckles.
So note to self, don't go to Italy in the summertime.
Don't go to Italy in the summertime.
It's hotter than here.
I mean, it's not supposed to be as hot as it is. It had a heat wave. They named them over there like we name hurricanes. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
The heat wave is called Cerebrus.
It sounds like an X-Men thing.
It does sound like an X-Men thing. So anyway, they named it. It was super, super hot. It was a lovely trip. And big thanks to Danny for joining you as guest host and the episode you done Scarlet Witch, because for the first time since we started listening to this podcast, I had no idea what the podcast was about until it came out, and I got to listen to it like a listener.
You're on the other side of the, or in the other foot or the shoe or whatever they say.
The other side of the coin?
Sure.
Is that where you're going? The shoe was on the other foot?
Yeah, one of the two.
Some of
both
those
mixed together. I don't know.
But yeah, so Italy was great, and right now I'm getting ready for Gen Con, but by the time this comes out, Gen Con will have already happened.
Yeah. But next episode we'll probably talk about what went on.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Our listeners and what happened. So.
But we decided, Kim, that you had Danny last episode and felt a little awkward. We needed like a third person to make sure things went smoothly here today after me being away, so we thought we would invite another guest host along.
Yeah, his name is insert name here.
Hello.
Jordo, a wild Jordo has appeared.
Yes, we haven't spoken to Jordo in a long time. Well, I speak to you pretty much, but I mean like on the podcast.
Jordo has not been on the podcast in quite some time.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you the last episode you were on.
It's been a minute. I honestly don't remember when it was either.
But he was on the episode before. He was a very special guest, because all guests are special.
I think you were on vacation too when he was on.
I think
he was on last year when you were.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
It was.
Was it last year's Gen Con episode?
I think so.
It might have been. Oh my God, it's been a year?
Was it Memphis?
One of the two. No, didn't you go to Memphis?
I did not go to Memphis, no.
Oh no, so maybe one of the two. Either Gen Con or Memphis.
I was going to go to Memphis this year.
I mean, you still could go to Memphis this year. They just
I
won't
We'll
have to teach you how to play HeroClix or Onslaught.
I
Onslaught
could.
might be up your alley. It's minis.
You get to.
Yeah, I don't know anything about
pre-painted.
Onslaught. Well, that's no fun.
They're pre-painted minis, just like HeroClix. I think it's just a D&D battle game. I don't know. I'm going to be at Gen Con. Maybe I'll have the opportunity to demo it.
Sounds like a plan.
I probably won't have time. So anyway, I haven't talked to Jordo in I don't remember how long in like voice talking.
Yes, voice talking.
There's been
Right.
texting, like Discord messages and Twitch commentary and things like that. But I don't know. When was the last time I came on game night once? I don't even remember what game we played.
Oh, we played Espionage, or that game that.
Mind Management. Was that the
Mind
last time?
Management. That's it.
Yep.
That would
That's
have been
right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, with Rob and Comics Mike.
Yep.
Yes.
That was a while ago, too.
Yeah.
And then there was the time we did that WizKids games. We did the robot thing.
Oh, was it the robot?
Oh, yeah.
And then the dice one.
Yeah, I've forgotten what both of the names of them.
One of them was like a Dungeons and Dragons-y type
Yep.
dice game.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I don't remember.
I sent them to Kim, so...
Robot
Yes.
something and dice something. That's all I know.
Dice Conquest and...
There you go.
Yeah, I don't have the other one.
Atlantic Robot League something.
Yes, there you go. That's
There
it.
you go.
Something like that. Anyway, so we thought, hey, let's have Matt join us on the podcast today, and just have a bit of a chat and see what's happening. So, because of real life events and the fact that our podcast comes out the day after Gen Con, and Kim, you are going on vacation.
Yes. So it actually worked out well.
I mean, it did and it didn't, because last year this was the same thing that happened. Was Gen Con was right before the podcast, and I think that I sent you clips through Dropbox.
Yeah. Yep. To
And
put together for
you
the
stitched
episode.
it all together and put a podcast together so it came out on time. And then we tried to do the same thing in Memphis, but Memphis's internet was so bad that we had to delay it a couple days until I got back. But this year I will probably do that. But because you're going on vacation, you do not have time to be last minute stitching clips together for a podcast. So I will hopefully be recording some audio with folks that are at Gen Con over the next few days. And that'll be part of our episode in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Whenever that is.
When does Gen Con starts? What, the Thursday or the?
I think it's usually
Thursday.
Yeah.
The Wednesday there's unofficial events, and they have trade day or something.
What the heck is trade day?
You bring your board games and you trade them with the people or
Oh,
something.
okay. Yeah.
I think there's some panels and things like that you can register for, but everything on Wednesday apparently is free. And then you can pick up your badges and stuff like that, and then everything starts on Thursday. So
It's Thursday through Sunday or Thursday through Saturday?
Thursday through Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, four whole days. And official events run 24 hours a day. You can jump into a D&D game or a RPG at 2 o'clock in the morning if that's your jam.
Oh my gosh.
That sounds awful.
I mean, it's not good for me.
Maybe people don't sleep,
you
you know,
guys
when they go to Gen
how I
Con.
need my sleep. I need my beauty sleep. I've signed up for the second weekly dice arena in the row, and I'm I don't even know if I can do this.
I saw your name pop up there going, what's going on?
Just getting
Is
ready
Jocelyn
for
sick?
Gen
Is she?
Con.
But here's the thing. It went so fast. We were in round 2 in an hour.
Yeah, we were.
The games were going quick, right? Because
I think we did 3 rounds in 90 minutes.
Yeah, it was 10:30 and we were done, and I was just this is awesome. Usually we finish 11:30, so.
Yeah, no. So I need to practice because I'm practicing against Rob, which is great. But it's good to practice against other people because not everybody has the same playstyle.
Are you going to share what you're Well, it's after Gen Con now, so what are you playing?
Yeah, I can share what I'm playing. It's actually right now the team that I'm playing is in the weekly dice arena chat. If you scroll back, because I did post the link, I think that it's going to be that team. So it's a combo Thor Master Mold team. So basically,
you're going to the dark side.
It's a Thor team, and if I sit down across from my opponent and they have a Master Mold, then it becomes a Master Mold team.
You know what? That's not a bad plan. If I was going, I'd probably do the same thing. Just chuck Master Mold on there and say, if you want to do it, we'll do it.
Yeah. So if my opponent sits down and they have a Villainous Pact and a Master Mold and whatever, Dark Phoenix and Mr. Sinister, whatever, all the tools for a Master Mold team, then I can play the Master Mold game. I don't have Deken. I didn't put Deken on my team. But I have Super Rare Thor, Super Rare Master Mold, Rare Typhoid Mary. So she blanks stuff. Yep. I have Rare Dark Phoenix, which is really just there for the global. Rare Wolverine, again, just there for the global. Black Widow Energize, I believe she's the rare from Infinity Gauntlet. Mr. Sinister rare for the global, and then Poison Ivy rare for the token generation, so I can name a Sentinel token and spawn things when Sentinels attack. And then for actions, I'm running Distraction because Master Mold's not my primary win condition, and Pirate Broadcast. So if I decide to go with Master Mold, I can turn off Distraction.
God, I hate Pirate Podcast.
Me too.
Or I can turn off
more than for me.
It's such a big brain card. I'm not smart enough to use it.
Yeah, you have to remember to use it. Yeah, for sure. You have to remember to use it. You have to save energy to use it. So, ideally, what I'd like to do is I'd like to win with Thor. But it's just going to depend against what I go up against.
There was a recent rules thing about taking out tokens. Something that used against tokens. Do we remember what that rule was? It was recent.
Actually, didn't Jocelyn ask the question?
The one about poison ivy?
Was it about poison ivy? It was a long, lengthy one.
Would we like to talk about that? Would we talk about that ruling? Because there was some commentary attached to that ruling from WizKids.
The one saying ask a new question.
Well, they almost errated it because they're like, no, it should say character die.
Well, they did errata
and then something else they also said it should say.
So basically what happened with this is that like last summer, like almost exactly a year ago right now, a question was asked was when she chooses an opposing character, can she choose a specific token? For example, could she choose a Sentinel token? And does the character need to be active at the time of choosing? So they clarified that she should read when fielded, choose an opposing character die, replacing all previous choices, instead of just an opposing character. They said the opposing character needs to be active, and you can choose a token because tokens are considered to be level 1 character dice. So then the question follow-up was, does that mean you could choose a sidekick? And then they errated it again. Choose an opposing non-sidekick character die, replacing all previous choices. And then I asked a question as well as somebody else asked a question about, does that mean that poison ivy also triggers for each copy of the die that attacks? So most of this conversation was happening in 2022, in the summer of 2022. These two questions that I asked and this other person asked were asked in July of 2023. And they said, yes, you can, if one sentinel, if you chose sentinel, if one sentinel attacks, or every sentinel that attacks would trigger. It's not a single sentinel, so it's not like you can just KO that one, right? And apparently they actually did provide an update on poison ivy specifically that clarified that in the Kryptonite Crisis rules updates. So it says that if multiple copies of the same character die attack, a plant token will be generated for each. The first sentence of this ability should state, when fielded, choose an opposing non-sidekick character die, replacing all previous choices. So that was actually in the Kryptonite Crisis rules clarifications, but I don't think that card made it to the errata list. So anyway, that does clarify for me that my rare poison ivy, should I be able to field it and choose a sentinel token, if my opponent attacks with a sentinel token or multiple sentinel tokens, I get to generate 0 attack, 2 defense plant tokens, which can block. And when they are KO'd, then my opponent loses 1 life for each one that's KO'd.
Because you can,
that's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, because you can block with them.
Yeah, the only time you wouldn't be able to block with them is if the Villainous Pact had already been triggered.
Right.
Because there's a ruling on Villainous Pact that, I guess, is it Villainous Pact creates a game state? Is that the best way to describe it?
I think so.
Basically,
I'll be honest, I haven't kept up with all the rules.
At the time Villainous Pact is played, whatever villains you have in the field at that time can block, and whatever die you choose as a non-villain can block, and anything that is created after the point that the Villainous Pact is played, you field the sidekick, you make something a villain with a global, something like that. None of that matters. Only the stuff that was active at the time Villainous Pact was played is what is part of that. So
you won't be able to block with it.
You wouldn't be able to block with it if a villain.
Even if it was a villain.
Yeah. That's right.
I didn't see that one.
That's how it works. I should probably double check, seeing as I'm going to Gen Con in a couple of days.
Did they actually specify that? Well, yes and no. If it's a villain that comes in after the fact, I feel that's legit. But again, what do I know?
Villainous Pact timing. Okay, so the opponent would choose 1 non-villain character die when the action die ability is used. If there are no opposing non-villain character dice when you use Villainous Pact, then the resolution of that portion of the ability would affect nothing. However, the second sentence is a persistent effect, so any non-villain character dice that comes into play after the action die would be used would be prevented from blocking. Your opponent would not be able to choose one of these non-villain dice because that portion of the ability has already been resolved.
Yeah, that makes sense. But if it was a villain coming in after the fact, which I don't think it actually can happen right now in the game, but
in your example, if you used Villainous Pact in the main step and no opposing non-villain character dice were available, but then you pass priority and your opponent fields a non-villain character die with a global ability, that die would not be able to block. That makes sense. If this was reversed, global ability first, followed by the action, your opponent could choose that non-villain character die to be the potential blocker. So yeah, I think villains, if you were able to somehow field a villain, that would probably work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would. Like I said, I just don't think you can.
I don't think there is a collector still that's modern.
Oh, yeah.
You have to awaken him.
Yes.
So it's a little harder to do. You'd have to spin something down to spin him up, and then you could... Isn't that the one? You awaken? Is that the one?
I think so.
It's from Infinity Gauntlet.
It's a Magneto?
No, it's a
collector.
Oh,
I think it's the common one. Nope. It's the rare. Yeah.
Awaken. Choose the rare one. Character die with a purchase cost of 3 or less. Field that character die at level 1 at the end of the turn, or when the die leaves the field zone, return it to its card. You may only use this ability once per turn, no matter how many collector dice you spin up. So, in theory, you could awaken on your opponent's turn to bring in a 3 cost or less villain that could block. But if you're doing that, you're probably
dead.
Already dead.
You're already dead.
Either that or something's gone horribly wrong for your opponent playing Master Mold. And Villainous Pact. So there you go. So that was the ruling. I wanted clarification, and apparently it already existed. However, I think we forgot the part that we were going to talk about, which is the clarification at the end of that.
The general note.
General note. When submitting a follow-up question to a post that is over 30 days old, it would be better to initiate a new post and refer back to the original question. This way you will receive a timelier response. Rarely do we go back to canvas older posts for follow-up questions. Thank you. So first off...
It's a little to sell for everybody.
If they wanted people to know that, do you think that maybe they should have put it in like the announcements at the top of the screen? Because do you think someone's going to open the rare poison ivy ruling to find the general note?
Yeah.
And what's wrong with the programming that they don't get a notification when a reply pops up?
You know how old that system is?
It looks like a very, very old system.
I think it's from like the 1800s. I'm telling you, like
back in the good old days, the internet.
1800s of the internet. All those.
The internet was invented. I don't know.
Before TV was even existing, we had computers.
Yep.
The radio
1800s.
It was. You wanted to hear music, you had to hear people playing instruments live. No,
but yeah, that's a nifty card now that they put it kind of in perspective that you can actually target tokens.
That was how I expected it to play, based on the previous ruling and all the information. However, knowing that Worlds was coming up, I wanted clarification, so I'm glad that I have it. Hence, Rare Poison Ivy is on my team. Since this episode is going to come out after Gen Con, in one of my practice games against someone who was not Rob, because I did get a couple of practice games in, my opponent used my pirate broadcast to shut off my distraction global, and I had 3 question marks in my reserve pool, and they had sentinels in the field, and I had my poison ivy active, and I had chosen sentinel token. And no, he didn't turn. Maybe he turned off sinister. Anyway, he turned off something and thought that he had the whole thing planned out, and I had Thor in my field, so I used his force attack global to force 3 sentinels to attack, which allowed me to field 3 plant tokens, which was 2, 4, 6 damage, and then block with the plant tokens, which of course then became KO'd because the sentinel token's a 5/5 and my plant tokens are 0/2s, and then he lost 3 more life. So that turned into my 3 energy turned into 9 life on my
That's
opponent.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's the kind of trick that's only going to work once.
Yeah.
Unless your opponent's running multiple force attack globals, which does happen because we have multiple force attack globals in Modern. There's a mask. There's 2 masks, a bolt, and a fist, right? So Doctor Strange, Slingers, Doomsday.
Yeah.
Doomsday?
Yes.
And
It's a bolt.
I don't remember who the fist one is, but there is one.
No, it's not Mr. Fantastic.
No.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway,
I'll find out.
There's a fist force attack as well. So some people run multiples to protect themselves from something like pirate broadcast. And if that's the case, then guess what? I'm force attacking your stuff, so it's going to keep happening. But on a trick like that, when you've only got 1 force attack global, I can tell you what happened every turn after that. Force attack got turned off.
Yeah. Let's see. So the bolt is Doomsday, yes. The Mr. Fantastic is the mask. Oh, it's Vulcan.
Oh, Vulcan. Oh, so Mr. Fantastic
I forgot
mask and Doctor Strange is a mask.
Yes. Doctor Strange
Plus
is a
Slingers.
mask. And Slingers is a mask. Yeah. So those are the ones. There is no shield.
No, there's no shield.
Shields always get left out. I feel like they're always like
They're very
'cause
defensive.
Yeah, they're the protection energy, so.
Yeah, I guess
I mean, if you force something to attack and you can KO it, then it's being protected. You're protecting your stuff, right?
Distraction should be a shield.
I think it's meant to be like what's the word I'm looking for? Like mystery. Like
The mystery energy.
Magic, I pushed you away.
So yeah, there's quite a few
Sneakiness.
cards with must attack.
Yeah, anyway. I know I just talked about force attacking 3 things to do my opponent 9 damage, but force attack should be limited to once per turn.
It should.
I think a lot of globals should be limited to once per turn, in my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Force attacks.
Can
force
get out of
blocks,
hand.
Dark Phoenixes. Mr. Sinisters.
Well, they learned the Dark Phoenix in Apocalypse.
Yes.
Did they though? Because the Dark Phoenix global existed in what?
Still
Yu-Gi-Oh!
existed.
And then they changed it in WWE and they made it sacrifice a die instead of KO a die. I think it was once per turn. And then they went and brought Dark Phoenix back. So.
Yeah, I feel that set was just a whole bunch of let's reprint the crazy shit and stuff.
That's okay.
Bring it back and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's also Gladiator Global, right? Wasn't
Yep.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Doom Caliber Knight.
Yeah.
Which
and-
protects you from protects your dice from action dice and global abilities when you attack.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which I
think
don't know. I don't think I've seen much teams that actually have that global on there.
The Gladiator Global?
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few in my testing.
Not against me or in WT.
No, not against you. But I mean, if you're running an attack team or you actually want to attack to win, it's the easiest way to get around a distraction. It's just pay a fist when you attack, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because pirate broadcast, like Matt said at the beginning of this segment that we just invented, is a big brain thing. You got to know when to use it and what to turn off and when to turn it off and things like that. So.
And then you forget what got turned off, and you're asking your opponent, "What did you turn off again? Did you use it?"
Yeah, I have a little. So when Comics Mike came up to Canada to visit us, well, he didn't come to visit us. He came to Canada, and we got together to play some Dice Masters and had dinner. He brought me a little 3D printed thing that said "Global Used." So I'm gonna use that, but I'm just gonna flip it over so it doesn't say "Global Used," and I'm just gonna use that to indicate what global's been turned off when I'm at Gen Con.
That's pretty smart, actually.
Because you will forget.
Yeah, quite often I turn off Pirate Broadcast with Pirate Broadcast. So
I had a Blackbird token that I still have somewhere.
there's a
Back in-
Blackbird HeroClix, I think, but I think it's large.
Slap that on the Dice Masters map.
Right.
Boom.
It'll cover up the entire
We'll
map.
look at you and be like, "Are you sure you're playing the right game?"
It's just, it's just an extra. It's something to help. So, yeah, that would be good, a Blackbird token. Maybe I could find a blackbird. That would be funny. What else would I find? A pirate hat?
A pirate? Do you not have a pirate in HeroClix?
There has to be a HeroClix pirate.
100% there is. I have a Kate Pride that's dressed like a pirate.
There you go.
From the X of Swords set.
Well, there you go.
But that means I have to carry it with me.
It's okay. You can fit in a pocket.
Yeah, they're small.
Well, they are, but I'm also trying to pack carry-on.
She's crazy with her carry-on packing. I don't know how you do it.
I did 2 weeks in Italy in carry-on packing, and I took too much stuff. I would take less stuff next time.
That's crazy. Do you vacuum pack your stuff?
No. Well, we had laundry. So we stayed in Airbnbs, so we had laundry.
Okay. That makes sense then.
We weren't staying in hotels. So it was easy enough to do a load of laundry while we were in an Airbnb.
That makes sense then, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's your team, which you're not changing or anything like that. You're sticking with it.
Maybe.
What were your basic actions? Did you say what your basic actions were?
Pirate, broadcast, and distraction.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's my team. That's the team I've been practicing with. I've made a couple of changes. I didn't have Black Widow on it at one point. I didn't have Typhoid Mary. I was running Wonder Woman, but the extra 6 cost was just that much harder to get to. And then, like, if I'm up against, for example, a rare Colossus, Wonder Woman does nothing for me, right? Super Wonder Woman only stops when fielded and when attacks. Typhoid Mary at least makes the entire card blank. The text is ignored, and if you force it to attack, I have a distraction global to bring it back. So, unless you turn off the
Typhoid
global.
turns off globals as well on that card. So
yeah, there's a lot of options with the Typhoid Mary. I didn't last year at Worlds. Typhoid Mary wasn't useful, and Drax wasn't useful because you could just force attack it and it was gone.
Yep.
That was it, and there was no way to really stop it. Now that we have distraction back in the meta, there's a chance. You just got to keep a mask back for it, and make sure you turned off your own pirate broadcast. So
it hurts my brain too much, so I try to ignore it.
It's doable, and like the Gladiator Global doesn't work on that because if your opponent forces it to attack, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to pay a fist and prevent myself from distracting it back? No. Right? So anyway, we'll see. I'm hoping that I will do well enough. But
you have a good chance, right?
Yeah, you're only up against
1 in 13.
1 in 13. So yeah, I'm absolutely going to do better than I did in Memphis.
Well, how many players were in Memphis?
Oh, it was like 30. Oh no, not last year. Last year was
like was it 23?
That could be right.
It was low 20s. Because
your chances are real good.
Yeah.
Well, then they do what?
I will absolutely do better than I did in Memphis.
They do round and then there's just cutting to top 4, right? That's how they're doing it this year?
This cuts a little weird.
Yeah. They're doing it the same as they do HeroClix because with HeroClix they're doing qualifiers. So there are 4, 8, 12, 16, 24, 8, 12, 16. There's 5 qualifiers. And they're taking the top 4 people from each qualifier to make 16 players for HeroClix. So that's how you get into the HeroClix Nationals is you have to qualify at Gen Con in a qualifier. You have to be in the top 4 and you can't go in multiple qualifiers. So you could only sign up for one qualifier, and then if you qualify, you cannot play in future qualifiers because people used to always play in qualifiers just to like practice their team. So now they're saying, nope, once you've qualified, you can no longer play. You can only pre-sign up for one qualifier. And then if you don't get in, then you can be waitlisted for the other qualifiers. So it's an interesting setup that they have. They did the same thing last year. And then they take the top 4 from each, and that will make their top 16, right? 4, 8, 12, 16. 4 qualifiers, not 5. Jocelyn does math. So 4 qualifiers, top 4 from each will be in the HeroClix Nationals, and then they will do the same thing. They'll run 4 rounds of Swiss, and then they'll cut to top 4. And that's what they're doing for Dice Masters, minus the qualifiers. So to play in Dice Masters Worlds, as we've talked about, you simply just
register,
pay your $18 US if you haven't registered yet, it's too late now because Gen Con's over. But yeah. So if you show up at Gen Con, as of the time of this recording, there were 3 slots available. We're going to do 4 rounds of Swiss apparently, and then we're going to switch to top cut, and it's going to be top 4. And what
are you playing for?
The title of Dice Masters World Champion.
Currently.
Bragging rights.
There is no prizes. What do we know?
This
is the week going into it.
After Laurier.
They gave away all the boom booms with their promo.
Right? I mean, like, this is the week going into it, the time of this recording, and they didn't announce anything yet.
There has been no prizing announced. But I don't think the 13 people that are going to Gen Con to play in Worlds really care about prizing.
No, if you're going to Gen Con, you're there for Gen Con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the prize.
I was going to Gen Con anyway, right? So my plan was to go to Gen Con. I did not expect there to be Dice Masters Worlds at Gen Con. I thought that I would be probably playing in a couple of drafts, maybe a HeroClix Battle Royal, and then doing a bunch of other stuff. Role-playing games, demos, walking the vendor hall, etc. And I'm still going to do most of those things, but now I'm also playing in Dice Masters Worlds. Because I'm there.
Right.
And you're playing HeroClix too. How are you going to find time to actually do the other stuff?
I am not playing HeroClix at
I thought you were. Okay.
I would like to play in a battle royal, so like a single battle royal, which takes about an hour or 90 minutes. But I wasn't able to find one that fit in my schedule based on the pre-registration. So basically, when I've got some free time in my schedule, I will just drop over to the table and say, "Hey, is there a space in a battle royal?" And if there is, then we'll play.
And do you have to bring stuff for that, or is that like?
Yeah, you kind of you just need tokens basically so that you can indicate your actions. So.
But you need your figures, don't you?
No. With a battle royal, it's sealed. So how a battle royal works with HeroClix is you get a booster pack which has 5 figures in it, and you open it and you pick one, and then you pass it to whatever the player next to you, and everyone passes around till it's like drafting until you have 5 figures, and then you play your game. Your game is however long, and it's every person for themselves in this 4-player game. And at the end, the winner, everything that you pulled goes back into the center, and then prizing is based on your placement. So if you're first, you get to pick something. The first player picks 2 things, and then second player, third player, fourth player, then fourth player, third player, second player, first player.
I like the snake draft.
That's what it's called. I couldn't think of the word. So it's a snake draft, and they, in addition to the figures that you pulled, that all of you pulled that go into the prize pool, they also usually throw a few things on the table, like extra con limited edition exclusives and other stuff. So they'll drop stuff into the prize pool at every table. So they're also running the X of Swords organized play for HeroClix, which was a lot of fun last year. That's where I won that Apocalypse. And I'd love to play in that again. But again, the timing conflicts because I'm doing a couple of role-playing games, and those are like 4 hours long. So it's like a whole half of a day, and like a lot of them start at 9, and then they finish at 1, and that 1 o'clock is when other stuff starts. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but Gen Con's pretty big.
Yes.
It's a large space. Like, my role-playing games are going to be on the field at Lucas Oil Stadium, and it'll take like 20 minutes to get from there minimum, like hoofing it 20 minutes to get from Lucas Oil Stadium back to the Gen Con where like HeroClix is being played. So you either have to leave something early or build yourself some time in. So basically what I did is I just booked one thing per day, and then the rest of it is flexible time.
They just go and see if, I can sit in on this or not or whatever, and walk around.
Sit in on
see
a
if you
demo.
can jump in the Lorcana demos.
Yeah, absolutely. Just walk up to a Lorcana demo with some generic tickets and just walk in there and sit right down. No problem.
Nobody will know. It's too busy. Nobody will know.
Easy. So yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff to do at Gen Con. So, and then, some Dice Masters friends are going to be there. So we know that Nick, Dice Masters Judge Extraordinaire, is going to be there judging Gen Con Dice Masters. Craig Hubner is going to be there, past guest of the podcast. Petrus, fellow Canadian.
Yep.
Rob, obviously. I've already mentioned him, I think. Who else? Who else do I know is going? Charlie. From
I didn't know Charlie was going.
Charlie Cates. Yep. It's Gen Con. He's always there. I don't know if he's playing Dice Masters, but he's going to Gen Con. So Charlie's going to be there. I don't know who else. I can suppose who else, but I don't know for sure.
There's only 13, so there's some newbies.
Well, there's going to be like 70,000 people there, so.
Yeah.
There's just only 13 people playing Dice Masters.
It's so sad. And there's nothing like events about like come learn to play Dice Masters. There's nothing like that either.
No, there isn't.
Just a drafting.
I am hoping that we will get some news at the
Fan
Appreciation event on Friday night. It's at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Hoping that there will be some news for Dice Masters folks in there, because the last thing that we heard was, if you followed the solicits, it's not like there was an announcement or anything. House of X was pushed back to October. But they haven't revealed anything about it. There's been no spoilers. There's been no announcement. And, obviously Dice Masters is not going to be at Memphis. So there's, why would they share Dice Masters news at Memphis if there's no Dice Masters?
We'll see.
So
we'll see what happens.
I'm hoping that there will be Dice Masters news. And if there's not, then there's not. But no matter what happens, I love this game. I enjoy Dice Masters. It's a lot of fun to play. And I have lots of dice and cards to play with. So.
As do we all.
Yep. I like competitive Dice Masters because it allows me to travel and hang out with people that I don't get to see very often because they live in other parts of the world. But if competitive Dice Masters went away tomorrow, I don't think it would matter to me. I would still play the game.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my take.
Okay, I know this episode airs after Gen Con, but what do you want to see win? You cannot say Master Mode.
I don't want to see Master Mode. I want to see Thor, but it's not.
Okay, change the question from what do you think will win and what do you want to see win?
Okay, Jordo, you go first.
Insert name here.
I still think Master Mold's the team to beat.
Uh-huh.
And until proven otherwise. But then I think back to, oh my God, when was the first Memphis? What year was that?
2019.
2019. Okay. Like everyone was like, oh, Iceman. And then there weren't that many Iceman teams that I remember.
There's going to be that many Master Mold teams, Matt.
You think there's going to be 13 Master Molds?
I would put money on a minimum of half of the teams being Master Mold.
Okay. Because there are going to be those people who just build against it specifically. Yes. But I still think that is going to be the team to beat. What do I want to see win? I would love to see Deathbird. I don't think it's going to happen, but I love Deathbird.
The one that I play.
The uncommon, right? The one
when
where you lose life.
5D or more, you deal damage to your
3D.
Yeah.
You KO
3D
with 3D or more. Yeah.
I built an annoying team around that, and Jocelyn did not like it.
No, I didn't. You built a very super control-y team,
which I never do.
It was a lot of control, but the only there was two problems. So the first is Thing, because when Thing is active, your opponent can't target your other character dice.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I could target, I could use Typhoid Mary because she doesn't target a die, she targets a card, but I couldn't Black Widow energize anything out except Thing, right? I couldn't force attack even if I didn't have a force attack, but if I had a force attack, I couldn't force attack anything except Thing. Thing is a problem. Thing was a concern for me. And then you add on to that, what else did you have, Kim? You had a Typhoid Mary, you had Colossus, you had a spin up. You were spinning
no, not on the Deathbird team.
Oh, not on
I didn't have Colossus on it. I had the rare Mr. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, KO stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
which was a little annoying as well. The only thing I didn't put on there was a Dark Phoenix, but you had a Dark Phoenix to help me KO stuff, which kind of helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like Deathbird, Mr. Fantastic was the pair, pretty much, right?
Yeah, I like Deathbird, Mr. Fantastic is a good combo. I like Deathbird, Proxima Midnight as well, particularly against Sentinel tokens.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little bit tricky to trigger. And if you're not up against a Master Mold with Sentinel tokens, I don't know that you can win off of that.
I had Thing. Oh, I had Spider-Gwen that deals the 5 damage.
Yeah, she's solid.
I had Jean Grey to annoy you with globals.
Global tax.
Mystique.
And I had Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, and then Wolverine for the prep. And then I had Nefira's Broadcast and Distraction as my... Yeah. So yeah, it was quite annoying. She just said it. Yours is annoying.
It was very controlling. But the thing about that team was Thing because of that. You know, when you didn't have Thing active, I was okay. As soon as Thing got in the field, that was when things got tricky for me. No pun intended.
I'll be curious if he
shows up.
I was going to say if he's a thing, but I mean that's terrible.
Okay, we're good with that.
He's not the Thing. He's Thing.
So you'd like to see Deathbird, but you think it's going to be Master Mold.
I think it's likely going to be a Master Mold team that wins it all, unless someone's just going to purposely lock them all out.
And I feel like, Kim, when I was practicing against your control team, Master Mold did better than Thor. Because just brute force.
Yeah, I had to really get a lot of Spider-Gwens in my way.
Yeah, I just had to keep attacking.
Yeah.
And then your stuff had to get blocked. Your stuff had to block and then got KO'd and had to come back around and things like that. So Master Mold did do better against that team than Thor did. For me, I agree that I think it's still going to be Master Mold. And I've been racking my brain. We got this whole set, Secret Wars. And I was talking to Rob about it the other day. Might have been this morning. I've lost track of all time. And he just said, I feel like I'm playing last year's team. And I was like, I get it. I feel you. Well, that's what it feels like. We're playing last year's game. Yes, there's a few new cards in the new shiny image that they came out with the new format. But Master Mold is still the win condition because there really isn't. I haven't been able to find anything that's win condition-y enough that can go up against Master Mold.
Yeah, there's not as much that says fast. To beat Master Mold, you have to slow them down.
That's right.
That's the only. Yeah, exactly. But in a pure race, you're not going to win.
Even when you slow him down, that doesn't necessarily protect you. It just gives you a better chance.
Yeah.
So I think a few episodes ago we talked about my wish list for bands, which obviously we didn't get because Gen Con is this week and they haven't even announced the prizing, let alone
there's still time to announce the bands, don't worry.
Yeah, right after
everybody change their team night before.
Those are coming out on Wednesday.
I don't have enough space to bring my entire modern collection. So I was a proponent of 3 bands, right? So I wanted Master Mold band, I wanted Mr. Sinister rare band because of the global, and I wanted Dark Phoenix band and or restricted, right? Because I feel like the unlimited nature of the Dark Phoenix global and the unlimited nature of Mr. Sinister global, in addition to Master Mold. If Master Mold was banned, just Master Mold, Sinister and Dark Phoenix are still going to help you get to other figures, other cards. But it also, I still think that they're too strong, but I don't think there's a clear winner after Master Mold of what is best.
No, I think it would be much more open if you took away Master Mold.
Right? You would have Thor, you would have Jubilee, you'd have Batman, you'd have
Barry,
Colossus. You'd still have Barry, I guess, in theory. Barry's still, the 7 cost is a smidgen to reach for.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're reaching for a 6, a 7's not that much different.
You'll see tomorrow when I play it. Oh, which people will know after. I built the Barry team.
So I don't think any one of those would come out consistently on top. Just my 2 cents.
No, I think it'd be a much more open meta, which would be really fun. Figure out the puzzle.
Yeah, and I mean, I still think that that Sinister and Mr. Sinister and Dark Phoenix shouldn't be unlimited. But if they didn't make any changes and they just took out Master Mold, then I still feel like it would be a much more open meta. But at this time, it's too late, and we won't know what's going to happen until we know. So, Kim, what do you think?
I'm sorry. What was you said Master Mode, but you want what to win? Thor? Okay.
I know you hate Thor.
Oh, it's a passion.
You hate it even more when I play it with Jubilee.
I can go completely different. Ready? Colossus is going to win.
Rare Colossus?
Mm-hmm. And I would like to see, as much as I want to say a Fantastic Four team to win,
I'm
still rooting for it.
I would love to see someone pull off a Fantastic Four team as a winning team.
It has to go so fast. But I'm gonna go completely different. I want to see one person I'm hoping bring a Barry Allen team.
I mean, last year there was a Barry that made top 8.
I don't think there'll be a Barry this round.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think there out of all 13 people, there won't be one.
Probably.
Yeah.
You have a better chance of a Fantastic Four team showing up than a Barry Allen team.
Or a Hellfire Gala team.
Yeah.
Hellfire would be great.
Yeah. I just think it's like if majority of people are bringing Master Mold, it seems so boring.
It would be super boring.
No offense, Jocelyn, because I know you have a Master Mold team. So does Rob.
Here's the thing. I have a different opinion of that because when you're playing, so you know how I just talked about like Master Mold is obviously the clear winner, right? Like it's the most powerful card, right? We all agree on that. It's overpowered. Just call it what it is. When I am playing against another Master Mold, it becomes more of a strategic chess match than when I'm playing Master Mold against something else. When I'm playing Master Mold against something else, unless I whiff all of my Master Mold rolls, I'm steamrolling you. Every time. Doesn't matter what you're playing. Pretty well, I'm steamrolling you with Master Mold. But if I'm playing against another Master Mold, it's a Master Mold on Master Mold matchup. It becomes more strategic. It's more like a chess game. I actually like that matchup better than Master Mold against anything else. That's just my opinion.
It's fair.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've seen Master Mold versus Master Mold games, and it still is whoever gets going first wins.
Yeah, sometimes. Once you miss your roll, you're pretty much done.
I mean, there's ways to manage that. And things are a little bit different this year than last year. So I think it was Nick that said in one of our comments on one of our dice bags that the Memphis Master Mold team, the 3M team as it was, it's not going to stand up this year. And I think he's right because there's too much control. We can actually keep control in the field.
Yeah, it's going to be different than last year, but again, as many tools that have come out to stop him, there's definitely tools that are helping him still.
100%.
So,
yeah,
we shall see.
We will find out.
I'm hoping for a surprise. That's really what I want. Like just something new.
Out of nowhere, it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I've been looking. I haven't found it yet.
I've heard some rumblings, but we'll see what shows up.
Well, it's over now, so do you want to talk about your rumblings?
Technically, it's over, but you have yet to go.
That doesn't mean anything.
It's a whole timey-wimey thing we got going on here.
Here, I'll plug my ears for the next little while, and you can tell Kim all about it.
Well, no. I said I wouldn't say anything about it. I don't know if they're actually playing this or not. So.
No, it's okay. No, I've seen a couple of teams people have shared with me that they've been sort of playing around with and things like that, but I just can't find anything that consistently beats the Master Mold. So
we'll find out on Friday? Saturday?
5th.
What are you doing Saturday, Matt?
I am hoping I am done with my trailer by then. Yeah. We sold it, so I got to go up on Friday to hand it over, and I hope there's not extra stuff we have to go back up on Saturday for.
Congratulations.
Yes, thanks.
So you're not sitting at your computer creating a Dice Masters Worlds page for dm-north.com?
I am not. Actually, as of the time of this recording, I'm having some kind of weird computer error that has completely blocked me out of that website.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Yeah. I can get on it on my phone. I can get on another computer, but the one where I do all my work, I can't. So I haven't figured out what happened yet. So.
Oh no, that's horrible.
So I have not been able to do any website updates in a long time.
I hope that your computer feels better soon.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong. I've got the whole, I've done the whole Google thing, got the YouTube videos up, so.
Maybe something's blocking it.
Well, it's everything from that host.
No.
So I got my professional website on the same host, and I can't get to that either, so it doesn't like that for some reason.
Oh, that's weird.
It's really weird. If anyone out there knows how to fix that.
Exactly. If anybody hears this episode, I could help Matt out.
Hopefully it's fixed by
Discord at Jordo.
Yeah, hopefully it's fixed by then, but in the case it's not, if you know how to fix let me pull up the error here. An error connection timed out.
That's so generic.
Yeah, I know. But there's lots of stuff on it on Google, so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been on the website in a while to create any content, but last time I logged in, it was fine.
Yeah, I had no problem forever ago, and then something's happened, and I don't really know what. So I'm gonna do the whole, troubleshooting, unplug the modem, plug it back in.
Did you unplug the computer, Matt?
Yeah, exactly. I'm learning all the joys of being a Rogers customer now. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't do all of the updates because I will be there. So, playing the game.
I did ask Nick, but I assume he'll be busy. He said he'll try to send stuff over.
Probably. I mean, I think like last year we can do things like send over team sheets and what have you.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of having the time and the ability to get that information on the internet because Kim can't help. She's on vacation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't think it's a mad rush this year like it was last year.
No, there seems to be less
chatter.
Chatter, that wasn't the word I was looking for. I was looking for something like
Hype.
excitement. All of those words work. There's less of that this year.
Yep. Which is too bad.
Well, maybe this is just the calm before the storm.
Yeah, I'm hoping they're gonna go, oh yeah, we accidentally left it off Memphis, so come on down, even though it's too late to book flights and hotels, but come on down anyway.
I think that the Memphis ship has sailed.
However, not the super secret worlds.
That's true.
At the Memphis hotel.
The super secret worlds that are going to be held in the
same hotel.
in the cafeteria outside the main exhibit hall.
Yeah. The unofficial worlds.
The guerrilla worlds.
The guerrilla world.
But they did say when they announced Dice Masters at Gen Con, they did say that this is Dice Masters' new home.
Oh, I don't think I caught that. That's permanent then, Gen Con.
Yeah, they said that this would, I'm pretty sure that it was in the announcement. Dice Masters' new home would be Gen Con. I just don't know what announcement that was in, because I think it might have been buried in a HeroClix announcement, because there hasn't been an announcement posted specifically for Dice Masters.
There's still hope for one to come.
I think it was in the Gen Con announcement. Gen Con WizKids 2023.
I wonder why they would stray away from the Memphis thing, though.
I don't know. I don't understand it. I never will.
I can guess. My guess is that they just don't have enough people to manage 3 events at Memphis, because at Gen Con, all the Onslaught stuff is being handled by a third party called Baldwin Games.
Okay.
So my guess is that they just don't have enough folks.
It's too bad they don't have people who would volunteer. That'd be helpful.
Yeah. Let's see.
Sorry.
Just saying.
Yeah, I was just trying to find that announcement that talked about Dice Masters' new home at Gen Con.
I don't remember that, but I'll be honest, I didn't pay that close attention when I realized it wasn't going to be a thing for me, so.
Yeah.
It's probably buried.
It's, anyway, I can't find it while we're recording, but if I find it later.
Put it in the show notes.
I'll put it in the show notes if I can find it. I know it's there somewhere. I definitely read it in an announcement at some point. But, I only see these things because I also follow HeroClix.
Yeah.
Because how many Dice Masters players are reading HeroClix announcements?
1, maybe 2 if Rob reads them.
Yeah.
Well, then there's Laurier. He's always on top of that.
Sometimes.
I don't know if he would read HeroClix stuff, though.
I don't know. I swear he's got like some kind of program on his computer that, when the word Dice Master shows up, it just funnels into him.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll, by the, a lot of this podcast will of course be
old news.
Old news by the time this comes out.
Congratulations to the Master Mold player for winning the 2023
I really hope
Dice
that
Master
it's not,
Worlds.
I really hope that it's not a Master Mold, but here it is. Is it here? Dice Masters players will have their World Championships at Gen Con this year.
Just this year.
Yeah. That's not the right one. There's another one that said Dice Masters permanent. I'm sure I read it somewhere. Unless it was just a comment on Facebook from Jimmy, which is also possible.
Maybe.
So, anyway, if I find it, we'll put it in the show notes. But I believe that the plan, based on what I've read or made up in my brain, either way, is that Dice Masters will be a Gen Con thing moving forward. So if that's the case, if I can find that proof in writing, then people can start planning for Gen Con for 2024.
Well, that's the big thing, right? If you give people enough time to plan, they're more likely to go.
I mean, I would 100% recommend Gen Con to anyone who enjoys board games of any type. Because they have any board game that you want.
I like board games, but I hate people.
Okay.
Who has a problem?
So here,
close your eyes and walk.
Here's the thing. I don't like people either. I am very selective in the people that I like. I went to Gen Con for the first time last year, and we talked about this on last year's Gen Con episode. But I have never been in a more supportive, friendly group of people than I was when I was in Indianapolis at Gen Con. Like, everyone was friendly. Everyone was having a good time. It didn't look like anyone was being made fun of. Everyone could be themselves. People wore whatever they were comfortable in. Like, no one was making fun of anybody. It was just a really good, friendly group of people. And when I follow the Facebook group, there's a Facebook group called Fans of Gen Con that I joined last year to learn all this stuff, because it is very overwhelming. Okay, it's like going to Disney for the first time. If you've never been to Disney, it's like, how does this work? What's a fast pass? Why can I go to this park? Why can't I get in this line? Like, I don't even know this stuff. I just know that it exists. It's very overwhelming if you don't have like the inside scoop. So the Fans of Gen Con group is designed. It's like a bunch of volunteers, and they have some people that are official Gen Con employees in there, and they're there to make it easier for everybody else. There's a Facebook group and there's a Discord group. And I learned all kinds of stuff on there. And people were like, oh yeah, like I'm a gamer from whatever, Hawaii, and I'm flying in and I don't have a hotel room. And like 4 people would be like, oh, you can stay with me. I'm LGBTQ friendly and I play games at these hours. And like, it was insane.
Wow.
Like, like just random people. And it was all kinds of people. Apparently it's very common. So, it's a friendly group. The whole city of Indianapolis, like at the airport has big signs, welcome Gen Con. They set up board game tables in the airport so that you can hang out and play your board games while you're at the airport.
Yeah.
It was very handy when we left because our flight was in the afternoon and we had to check out of our Airbnb in the morning, and then our flight was delayed. So we were able to sit at a table and play games while we were waiting to get there, to get for our flight on our way home. So it was just such like, okay, I'm not used to people being that friendly. I live in Canada. People are friendly here, like generally, right?
Yeah, but you're Southern Ontario. That's different.
Yeah, they're not as friendly here. But some people are. The right people are. But some people are like, I don't want to talk to anybody. But you know, they were friendly. They were like, oh, where are you from? Oh, you're from Canada? Oh, you should check out this restaurant, or make sure you check out this store, or, you know, it's so nice. Would you like us to take your picture and not steal my cell phone? Like, it was just like crazy. Like, oh, I'm a photographer. Here, let me take a picture of you and your partner while you're having tacos. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, there was like, I got a great picture that a photographer took of me and Rob while we were having tacos. Because this woman's like, oh yeah, like we were trying to take a selfie, right?
Right. Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I'm a photographer. Let me take the picture for you.
See, that's what someone who's going to steal your phone says.
She was there with her friend and her dog, and they had drinks. And no, she like took our picture and she chatted with us for like 5 minutes. She's like, let me do this one and try this. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like so nice. Like, everyone was so friendly.
Because they want people to come back.
We were at this restaurant, and this guy was like, oh yeah, where are you from? Oh yeah, I love Canada. Oh, you should definitely do this. And oh, these people are at the thing with the board games, and you know, I want to go to that, and I've never been, and I live here, and I should go. And it was just, I don't know, it was just, I felt very at home. It was very friendly, but not like overbearing friendly, if that's something that you're worried about. Like, people were like, oh yeah, you don't want to be bothered? Okay, no problem. And they just went on about their day. So you like board games, you like role playing, you like learning crafts, you like seeing celebrities, like comic celebrities and artists, like apparently magic. I don't know anything about magic aside from the fact that they're going to make a Doctor Who set soon. They have like magic artists come and people sign cards and things like that. Like, it's crazy. So I would definitely recommend it, even if you don't want to go play Dice Masters. Even if
I do want to go. You know, it's on my
bucket list.
It seems lame to put that on a bucket list, but you know what I mean.
I don't think it's lame at all.
Your gaming list.
It's on my to-do list.
It's the second largest gaming convention in the world, like right after Essenspiel. So.
Yeah, it could have happened.
Would you rather go to Germany or Indianapolis?
Germany would be nice. You can make an extra long trip.
It's a long trip.
2 weeks. I went there for 2 weeks. Can't speak English, but no, or German or whatever.
Oh, Germans speak very good English mostly.
Yeah, probably.
So, anyway, so Kim, I guess, has turned into an episode about Gen Con.
Yeah.
It's topical. It's okay.
It's okay.
And we learned that Jordo sold his trailer.
Yeah.
So what are you doing the weekends in the summer now?
We don't know. We haven't figured that out. We haven't figured that out yet.
I recommend Italy. I don't think you can go there for a weekend, but
it might be tough to make it there for the weekend, but I'll see what I can do.
I do recommend Italy just in general.
Someday I want to make it over to the European side of the world.
Have you ever been over there?
I have not.
No.
I've done North America. I haven't been outside of North America though.
Kim, have you been over? I mean, I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been to Portugal.
Nice.
Italy's on our list to go. So, I mean, hubby's side of the family has a bit of Italian.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Well, his mom's side last name is very Italian. So,
we did like the north section. We did like Milan, Venice, Verona, Vicenza, Palmanova. So it was very like northeastern section. So I'd like to go back and do like Rome, Napoli, Sicily, things like that. Maybe one day.
Hey, we could all meet up in Italy.
Dice Masters World, Italy 2024. Unofficial. Guerrilla.
If there was time to plan the gorilla one, I would have done it.
Yeah. It would have been fun.
That would have been hilarious.
So.
What's the gorilla one? Am I losing it? Am I that tired?
Some people suggested that we still hold worlds in Memphis.
Oh, right. Our secret. Is that what you guys calling it? The gorilla?
No, it was never planned to be called gorilla, but I kind of like it.
You just show up.
Yeah, just show up.
Like, there's nothing when you book the hotel that says you have to be there for HeroClix or Onslaught. You just have the WizKids code and you book the hotel and you bring your Dice Masters.
Yeah. The original thought was like just get a conference room at the hotel, but the lobby's actually pretty funny.
You could play in EP's, Elvis Presley's restaurant there.
But that was an idea that was floated around. half jokingly, half serious.
Yeah, because there's nothing confirming that you have to be one of those games to get a hotel room. You just have the WizKids code. You book the WizKids code.
But I think honestly,
playing a WizKids game.
Honestly, if we were to do something like that, you'd pick a more central hub to get into.
Yeah. Memphis wasn't hard to get to from Toronto before the pandemic. We had a direct flight.
Oh yeah, I remember it was connections for me. It was
it's connections now. There isn't a direct flight. You can direct fly to Nashville from Toronto, but that's still almost 4 hours from Nashville to Memphis. It's completely the other side of the state.
Mm-hmm.
And because Memphis is right near the border of whatever state is next to it. Mississippi, maybe. I'm not good with the American geography. I apologize.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't want my Canadian to show here, so I'm not even going to guess.
I think it's Mississippi because the guys from Mississippi come.
Oh, that's right. There's a whole crew. Not very
far away.
Yeah.
So because they can drive in and out every day, it's half an hour or something. So there is a border to Mississippi near Memphis, but the airport there isn't any closer to Memphis because Memphis is the airport. There is an airport in Memphis, an international airport. It's small and not a lot of places fly there anymore. So internationally. So connections, even from a big city like Toronto. So, but I can fly direct to Indianapolis for Gen Con.
I'm trying to remember what I found when I looked at flights. I don't think there was a direct one for me.
That's because you live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Bootyville.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in a big town in the middle of nowhere, but.
Yes.
But yeah. So I mean, if I can find that confirmation that I read something that said Dice Masters' new home will be Gen Con, then people can start planning for 2024 because Gen Con will have already published the 2024 dates if they haven't already.
And they usually don't change. It's usually around the same time. So
yeah, it's usually that first weekend. Yeah. It's already published. The dates for Gen Con are published through 2026.
Really?
Wow. Yeah.
And when do hotels go up for that?
So how hotels work for Gen Con is when you purchase a badge, you can get access to the housing portal. And the housing portal opens in late January or early February.
Mm-hmm.
And when you put your badge in, you can sign up for the housing portal if you want. So if you have multiple people in your group, it's good to have everyone buy their own badge so that you can get more chances at the housing portal. And then everyone's like, oh, you didn't get a house in the housing portal. You're screwed. You're not screwed because people drop rooms, change rooms, move rooms all the time. There's rooms that are close to the con. There's rooms that are further away, like near the airport, things like that. You just follow the portal. The portal updates real time. So as someone drops a room, you can pick it up. And there's a change date. I think it's in May. You can completely cancel your room entirely with no penalty until sometime in May. And then they charge you a $50 fee. So then if you cancel your room after they put the fee in, then you get a $50 charge that is charged to you. And then they transfer the reservations to the hotels early July, mid-July, and then the hotel will charge your first night. And at that point, then you're at the hotel's cancellation policy. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that. There's also Airbnb, VRBO, VRBO.
Never heard of that one.
It's like Airbnb, but it's a different company.
Oh, okay.
You can also book outside of the hotel block as early as you can, based on whatever hotels let you do. Sometimes it's 6 months, but that's more expensive. The hotel block gives you the best prices.
Okay.
So
I will check it out for 2024.
August 1st to 4th.
That's always a long weekend too for us, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, because the Monday is the holiday.
And then 2025, July 31st to August 3rd, and 2026, July 30th to August 2nd.
What happened there? Earlier in the year.
Well, I think it's because that's what happens with the calendar, right? It's still running Thursday to Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's just how the calendar shifts because of time and leap years and stuff. So yeah, so that's where we're at. So
cool.
I would encourage you to go to Gen Con even if you're not interested in Dice Masters.
And like board games.
Yeah, if you don't like board games, don't go.
Then don't go.
If you don't like board games, if you don't like role-playing games, if you don't like live-action role-playing games, if you don't like craft workshops, if you don't like demos, if you don't like free stuff, if you don't like travel, if you don't like people, even friendly people, then maybe you don't want to go.
I'll have to rethink things now. Maybe I won't make it 2024.
Come on, Matt. You already committed. I've
yeah, but then you listed all those things. Like, I don't like people. I don't.
But you like board games, and you like
I do.
role-playing games, and you like.
I'm okay
crafts.
on role-playing games. Okay on crafts. I do like paint.
Crafts. What would they do for crafts?
Crochet, sewing,
okay.
Chainmail, knitting, build your own, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. The whole town gets in on it. Like literally the whole town's interested in the stuff. So anyway, so I guess by the time you hear this episode, Gen Con will be over. We will know if Master Mold won or not, if somebody has done that, and which of the 13 people are now the Dice Masters World Champion. And then we'll talk about it in the following episode about what actually happened.
2 weeks later.
And then we won't talk about Gen Con for probably 6 months. Deal?
Deal.
Okay. So, should we dice bag this thing up, Kim? This has been a long episode.
Yeah. There's not much in the dice bag. Just what happened last week episode.
Yeah, there's just a couple of things. So, first off, thanks again to Danny for filling in for me while I was away. She enjoyed having fun talking and learning more about Scarlet Witch. I already talked about it being a pleasant surprise to listen to it. There was this comment from our friend, Oh No, It's Red Mage. I was listening to it during my outside errands, and Kim saying I didn't find too much of a sad story with Wanda. That made me chuckle a bit. Depowering and or killing 986,618 mutants isn't sad to you, Kimberly.
I know. He used my full name.
Propaganda.
And you know what? I have to give him.
Dice Masters.
He spelt it right. Because most people spell it with L-E-Y these days. But he spelled it right. Yes, he spelled it right.
So yeah, and then Nick piped in, Jackalope Spam, Scarlet Witch seems to be the mental illness scapegoat. Some of the modern comic events have really leaned into that a lot to make us feel sorry for her. That was practically the entirety of House of M. And then there was a Dice Masters commentary around that about Scarlet Witch tied for the most unique team affiliations among her cards. With Magneto, they have 5 different affiliations. And Scarlet Witch apparently also has the most incorrect affiliations, 7 X-Men cards despite having never been a member, and only 1 Avenger despite being a member for a billion years. Red Mage is furious. So, there's a lot of conversation in there about, is Scarlet Witch a mutant, and what's they've done in the MCU versus the comics. So there was some interesting chatter there. And I think that we'll end on this note. We got an email, Kim. Did you read that one?
The very odd one?
From Mr. Trellis.
That was a pretty odd email, but okay.
So Mr. Trellis says, love the podcast. You said to contact the show. You always love to hear from us, and that we should reach out and share our thoughts. Does that include asking questions? Because I have a question. Of course it includes asking questions. We always love questions. So this question was, do you know where my car keys are? So I am going to answer this question.
Okay.
It is a 2-part answer. So first off, if you have a car, then your car keys are where you last left them. And if you don't have a car, then I don't think you have car keys.
Or you stole it.
So Kim, what do you think? Do you know where Mr. Trellis's car keys are?
I no comment.
Matt, would you like to weigh in?
They fell behind the couch.
Usually they're probably in between the couch. That's a good one. Or they're actually hanging where your keys hang.
Yeah, I'm just going with where you last left them. So I hope you found your car keys, Mr. Trellis, and we would love to hear from you again. So thanks for reaching out. And is there anything else we have for today, Kim?
No. I think we're good.
So on that note, big thanks to Matt for coming along and being the third wheel on our podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
And you could reach out to us like Danny and Nick and Red Mage, and there was also some collector Rob in there in the conversation online at our Discord channel, dmNorthTV. You can find us on all the socials at dmNorthTV, on YouTube, and on Twitch at dmNorthTV, as well as you can send us an email like our friend Mr. Trellis at tripledpodcast@dm-north.com. So until next time, on a double and dice.